Hey guys, I just thought I'd finally get around to stepping out in front of a camera, talk about my own musical tastes, especially because I've only met three of you. I know Tyler, grew up with Tyler, he's my cousin, and then his brother Parker, of course. And then Brad, sorry, you're forever Bread to me now. So I think I'll start probably with the first band that I ever obsessed over. It's probably in the 8th grade for me, The Killers.
Making out, we got the radio on.
I am a big fan. This album was the very first album I actually bought the first day it came out, and it's a great album, love it. Battleborn, great one. Another big band for me when I was growing up was Keen.
We were silenced by the night.
This was a big one for me. It's just basic piano rock. Love the band. And I'm getting a reflection of myself, recording myself. Just Strange Land by Keen, another great album. Highly recommended. Love it. Muse. Who can deny this band? I know I can't. In fact, I love this album. Love it. I know there's a lot of debate over what their best album is, but Origin of Symmetry, Muse, best album. This next one actually is very, very important to me. This is the band 2. After I discovered this album, I really started to dig deep into a lot of new music. All That You Can't Leave Behind by U2.
I never thought you were a fool.
I can't leave it behind. I know that. You cannot go without mentioning this album when you talk about U2, but the Joshua Tree classic album, some great tracks on it. The whole album is perfect. Holden, I'm gonna talk about this band, and I know you love them. It's the Photo album by Death Cab for Cutie. This one and Plans are up there on the top of my list of best albums of ever. I was in denial listening to this band for a long time. It was pretty bad. Revolver by
Changing my life with
the Beatles. Classic album. I wish I hadn't waited. I'll just put it that way, because I love this album. Another album I consider it a classic because just it's important to the genre it belongs in. It's from the 90s, out of the ska punk scene. Let's Face It.
Mind your minder, it will surely spoil.
By the Mighty Mighty Boss Tones. There's not a song I do not like on this album, but every time I listen to it, I'll listen to like 3 or 4 times in a week because I always forget how much I love it until I listen to it. I know Chris is a big fan of this band. Oasis, What's the Story, Morning Glory.
You've gotta roll with it. You've gotta.
This might be my favorite album out of the 90s. This one's the best. Don't deny it. And I've mentioned this band quite a bit. In Excess, Kick. Great album. I actually didn't know they were by the band until I really got into this band. Tracks like Need You Tonight, Devil Inside, all great stuff. It's just a great album. Tyler, Why Did You Do This to Me? Laughing Stock by Talk Talk. This might be one of the most perfectly written albums of ever. Not a single moment can be ignored. Ugh, such a great album. I have a ton of stuff here. So, I know talking about Radiohead, I've never actually been able to place like a favorite album or favorite track just because there's a lot of good stuff to go through. But I think I recently decided what my favorite Radiohead album was. Hail to the Thief. I did not like this album the first time I heard it, but oh my goodness, it's grown me. It's a creepy listen. Very, very great stuff though. Beck, The Information.
Send a telegram, tell me your thoughts. I want to live for a day.
Complete with stickers to make it different. It says some of my favorite Beck tracks on it. Of course, every album's just amazing. But Elevator Music, Think I'm in Love. Who can deny this album? I don't know. We've discussed this next band a whole lot because they just released an album, just put out an album, which I actually like, but I know Lon hates the album. But the album I'd like to talk about is The Moon in Antarctica by Modest Mouse.
I'm gonna hit you on the face, I'm gonna punch you in your glasses.
This is music for frustrated people and angry people and cynical people. Isaac Brock's a genius. I think I could pull out some of my more indie stuff now. This is an important band to me. Local Natives, Hummingbird.
Tell me what I know again.
Great band. Even in a cool little sleeve. Look at that. Ooh. It's actually my favorite album art of ever. But this is a great indie album for any fans of Grizzly Bear out there. If you haven't heard Local Natives, you need to listen to them. Another important indie rock band to me. Such a loose term. I don't know if you count all these indie. I do. The National. Trouble Will Find Me. I always have a hard time deciding what my favorite album from The National is because everything they've put out I've absolutely loved. Look at that. I want that blown up on a big poster. Put it on the wall. Freak people out. I knew from the first track I was going to love this. Arcade Fire, The Suburbs. What else do I need to say? You all know this album. It's a great album. This band's pretty new to me. They also just released an album, but I'm becoming a pretty big fan. Is the Decemberists. Picaresque.
You come from parents once and
This is the first album I got from them, and it's really different stuff. Frickin' Colin Meloy's kind of strange, but he's a strange genius at that. This next one is actually two that kind of fit together pretty well, but it's one of my all-time favorite indie rock bands, power pop sort of stuff. The New Pornographers, great band. I had a hard time picking a favorite from this band as well, but I think I might have to go with Together, which is I know is not what most people would immediately think of, but this one I love the work with the cello on it. It just kind of sets it apart from the rest of their stuff, which all their stuff's great, but I particularly love this one. And the other one that goes with that, Shut Down the Streets by A.C. Newman.
no one wants to weigh things down.
A.C. Newman's the lead, or whatever you want to call him, for the New Pornographers, but his solo work is it's glorious stuff, so good. But I would kill to get this on vinyl. Well, maybe not kill, but M83. Just the mix of the vocals down in the mix, behind all the electronic instrumentation, all that what's going on, and it just makes for some beautifully composed songs. Let's see, great album. This band I think I've mentioned a couple times, but I don't know if I've ever met anyone else who listens to this band except for my friend who introduced me to them. The Deer Hunter.
So come back home.
Color Spectrum. Look, it's in a box, so it has to be special. This was actually a crazy project. See, look how crazy. The Color Spectrum, what it is it's a collection of 9 EPs into one album. It takes 2.5 hours to listen. It's an adventure. I've tried to sit down and listen to the thing in its entirety. I've only done it successfully once because it's so exhausting. But each EP is named after a color. This is his interpretation of each of the colors musically. I would recommend The green, indigo, and yellow EPs. They're the best. These last three bands I'm going to talk about, I'm actually going to talk about a little bit more in depth because these are my my top three favorite. Travis.
You're just so selfish, Gene.
I love this band, especially this album. It's one of my all-time favorite tracks on it, Selfish Gene. Great song. But another album by Travis that I actually can never, ever get enough of. This is one of my all-time favorite albums ever. It's Where You Stand.
Where you stand.
It's just amazing. I don't know why, but I can never get enough of it. Next one is a band that I used to never, ever shut up about, and I got a whole lot of crap from all my friends for it in high school. I never would stop talking about this band, ever. Coldplay. This was actually the first album I ever bought. To this day, I don't know what my favorite Coldplay album is, just because I love all of their work in its own way. But this one will always remain a classic to me, X and Y. This one has also been up there among my favorite albums from Coldplay, Milo Loto. This got a lot of crap, and I understand why, because it's so different. But man, there's some good stuff on this one. I love this album. And the last one I'm going to talk about here has particularly become important to me just recently here, because I've started saying to people just recently that to fully understand who I am, you need to listen to this guy's entire discography. Matt Carney. I'm a big fan of this guy. I've never related to music quite as well as I have to his, and to Coldplay was the other one, actually. I couldn't get enough, so now this is here in my life and won't go away, ever. And he also just put out an album, my top album of 2015 so far, Just Kids.
If I'd have met you at the playground, beforehand could tear your world down.
This is a solid pop album. I've listened to this on repeat since it came out, pretty much. I mean, I've taken a little bit of a break just so I don't exhaust it. But I went and saw this guy in concert. It's actually a week ago. He's such a talented man. That's what I have for you. Oh wait, I forgot one. I don't own this one on CD, but it's also kind of related to the Killers. It's frontman, his solo project, Brandon Flowers, Flamingo. It's a solid pop album. I actually have a soft spot for pop rock, but if you haven't heard that album and you're into that sort of stuff, listen to it.
I never see no hope for me. I still see hope for you.